Have you ever had that feeling where you're just drowning in data? I mean, you've got spreadsheets, dashboards, reports coming out of your ears, but when it's actually time to make a big decision, you still feel like you're flying blind? Well, you are definitely not alone. It's one of the biggest challenges in business today. So let's dig in and figure out what's really going on here.
And that brings us to what's known as the data paradox. It's this super frustrating reality where, we're told that data is everything, but having mountains of it doesn't automatically give you those brilliant, game-changing insights. It's like we have more information than at any point in history, but we're still starving for actual wisdom. So what's the disconnect?
Well, the disconnect happens right here. See, on one side, you have the metrics we all report. Visits, page views, bounce rates. They're just numbers. But on the other side, you've got the questions your boss or your stakeholders are actually asking. Things like, so what? Why should I care about this? Did we actually make any money? We're basically speaking two different languages. We're reporting on activity, but they care about impact.
And this really gets to the heart of the paradox. All of our data is absolutely fantastic at telling us what happened. We can see every click, every visit, but it almost never tells us why it happened. And that why, that's where the real gold is. Just think about your standard web analytics. That's what we call clickstream data. It's basically the digital footprint of every single visitor. And yeah, it's incredibly detailed, and it's the foundation for most of what we do in analytics. We can see the exact path someone took through our website, but we have no idea what the motivation was behind that journey. It's kind of like watching a silent movie. You see all the action, but you're missing the entire story.
So how do we break out of this trap? Well, we need a totally new way of thinking, a kind of evolution from just counting clicks to a much more complete framework. And it's called Web Analytics 2.0.
At its core, Web Analytics 2.0 is really all about expanding our definition of what data even is. It's not just about the numbers from our own website anymore. It's about combining that quantitative data, the what, with qualitative data, the why. And just as importantly, it's about looking outside our own four walls to really understand what our competitors are up to. The whole goal is pretty simple: continuous improvement that actually leads to real, tangible results.
Now, the first pillar of this new framework is still that clickstream data. We're not throwing it out. It is the essential foundation. Knowing what people are doing on your site is the absolute non-negotiable starting point for every single deeper question you're going to ask later on.
Pillar 2 is where we start speaking the language of the business. This is all about measuring outcomes. So instead of just reporting raw traffic numbers, we start answering questions like, how much revenue did this campaign drive? Or how much did we reduce our customer service costs? This is the pillar that directly connects your hard work to the company's bottom line.
And pillar 3, this is where we finally get to that missing why. And the secret? Well, it's to stop guessing and just start asking. We can listen to what's called the voice of the customer through things like surveys, or even better, we can actually observe their behavior through usability testing and experiments. This lets our audience tell us, with their own clicks and actions, what they truly want.
And finally, we have Pillar 4, which forces us to look outward. It answers the question, what else is going on? Because let's be honest, our data means absolutely nothing in a vacuum. A 5% growth in traffic might feel awesome, but competitive intelligence could reveal that your main rival grew by 50%. That context, that's what separates tactical reporting from truly strategic decision-making.
So when you start putting these pillars together, you stop reporting on those vanity metrics and you start measuring what truly matters. You actually shift the entire conversation from just talking about visits to talking about tangible value.
Okay, let's make this personal for a second. Think about your own reports. You almost certainly know how many visits your website got last month. But can you confidently state, in dollars and cents, the economic value your site generated? For most of us, that's a much, much harder question to answer.
But it doesn't have to be that hard. I mean, just look at how a simple table like this totally reframes the conversation. We're not just seeing traffic sources anymore, we're seeing their goal completions, and crucially, their dollar value. For the first time, you can see clear as day that some of those lower traffic sources are actually way more valuable to the business. This kind of clarity, it changes everything.
Here's a perfect and very human little story that illustrates this point. So the author of our source material, Avinash Kaushik, was trying to explain to his wife why he was up blogging at midnight. He pulled out these big, impressive-sounding numbers. I got huge traffic from 176 different countries. And her very practical response was just, go to sleep. Those numbers meant nothing to her because they weren't connected to any kind of real-world value.
Now look at the difference here. Pitch number 1 is what he tried. It's all about activity. But pitch number 2 is what he should have said. It's all about outcome. Which one do you think is more persuasive? Which one is going to get you the resources and the respect you need in your job? It's not even a contest, right?
All right, so we've covered the importance of outcomes. That's the how much. Now let's circle back to those other crucial pillars, finding the why and getting that vital context by looking beyond our own data.
Here's a really powerful way to think about the limits of just looking at your own data. Imagine you're driving a car. You look down at your dashboard, and it tells you with perfect precision that you are going exactly 70 miles per hour. That's your clickstream data. It's accurate, it's about you, and it's a fact. But here's the problem. While you're staring at that perfectly accurate dashboard, your windows are completely blacked out. You have no idea what's happening on the road around you. Is 70 miles per hour fast? Is it slow? Are you on a highway or a quiet country road? You have absolutely no context.
This is the incredible power of competitive intelligence. It unblacks the windows. And suddenly, you realize you're on the German Autobahn, and every other car in your industry is flying past you at 160 miles per hour. All of a sudden, your fast 70 miles per hour is actually dangerously slow. Without that external context, you would have been feeling pretty good about your performance, totally unaware that you were about to be left in the dust.
So that's the what else. But how do we actually find the why? Well, it really comes down to a simple principle. Just listen to your customers. You can do this passively with something like an exit survey asking people why they're leaving. Or you can do it actively by running A/B tests to see which headline converts better, or even doing usability studies to literally watch people try to accomplish a task on your site. The answers are right there if you just ask.
Okay, I know this all sounds great, but you're probably wondering, how do I actually start? It can feel a little overwhelming, but the path to smarter analytics, what you might call analytic nirvana, can actually be broken down into a few manageable steps. Here's your starting point. First, just get the basics right. Make sure your website is properly tagged so you're collecting clean, reliable data. Second, you have to define what success actually looks like for you. Set up goals in your analytics tool and assign an economic value to them. This is the most crucial step. And third, start tracking your efforts. Tag your marketing campaigns so you can see exactly which ones are driving that value. Remember, it's an evolution, not a revolution.
So, I'll leave you with this question to think about. When you look at your own reports and your own dashboards, is your data really telling you the whole story of what's happening with your business? Or is it just telling you the first chapter, the simple what, while leaving out all the far more interesting and valuable parts about the how much, the why, and the what else?